something that I feel really passionate about, which is teaching kids communication and leadership. And it's just not any group of kids, but specifically kids from immigrants and foreign nationals. Because, you know, I've come to this country myself at age 17. Yes, I did. And I had to learn the American culture. No. Born and raised in Hong Kong. But I had to learn basically the American culture, the way we communicate here, and the way leadership is practiced out here. And for these children of foreign nationals, you know, they pretty much take on the personality of their parents. And so, you know, obviously the parents want their kids to be successful. So that's why I come in and tell them, this is what you do when you communicate, this is what you do when you get involved with leadership. Well, I've been involved with youth leadership, local programs around here for the last 4 years, so I've taught about 800 kids, 800 plus. But that's nothing, because my guess here, was it, I think way more than 800, but I met Florence about 4 years ago, and we've been working on and off with kids programs. And one of the programs that I got to work with in her business was to give a 4-hour session to a group of kids from the Montessori school. And you know what Montessori school's like, right? They're very inquisitive.
And very smart.
Very smart. You usually have in the class one student that'll be asking all the questions, and I had the whole class asking me questions. Why are we doing this? Why are we learning that? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm the teacher, listen to me. So we have Florence today. Thank you for joining us, Florence.
Thank you, Anthony, for inviting me. This is a wonderful opportunity to talk about something I feel very passionate about. So
what a beautiful accent she has.
Yeah, why don't you tell everyone where you're from and your background?
Yes. Well, Anthony was talking about being from Hong Kong, and I have lived on 3 different continents. I've lived in England for approximately 8 to 12 years, and I say 8 to 12 because it's been an on and off kind of thing, because my dad was in the diplomatic services. I've lived in India, which is where my father is from. My mother's from Iran, and then, of course, since 1986, I've lived in the US of A. So here I am, and the accent is very mixed, of course.
I can hear that English accent. That's what was losing me. I was going,
yeah, that's right.
Let's have a crumpet.
With tea, right. Yes. Well, but it's been a very wonderful experience for me, just working with children and getting them to talk and be comfortable in who they are and where they come from, more importantly. So I'm always telling children, you know, be comfortable in the skins you come from, because the kind of children I look at them as baskets of fruit. With their own distinctive, with their own distinctive flavors, their own textures. But the wonderful thing is, once you get through that layer, you know that they're wonderful children who all want to talk. After all, human beings all want to communicate. We all know that. And as mothers and fathers, we know that we can't get our children to shut up. Then why is it that once they're in front of a group of people, they're unable to talk, or they get the jitters? Now, it was Nancy, right, who mentioned something about those breathing exercises. Well, the culture I come from, at least in India, the yoga exercises do teach you, once you breathe through the nose and then exhale through the mouth in a steady beat, it does calm your heart down. So anyone who's done yoga will know that breathing exercises do help. And at this moment, Anthony, my heart is pounding, because
that's why I asked you if you were doing that exercise that Nancy told us to do.
I'm trying to, and the reason being, and this is why I can relate to children who can talk non-stop most of the time, but once they're put in a certain situation, why is it that their heart, that's right. It is a situational problem. When you're not exposed to certain conditions or a new environment, immediately you react by becoming a little bit nervous. You don't know your surroundings as well. But once you do get comfortable, then that's it. Your tongue muscles get loosened up and you're ready to talk. Right? Anthony knows, because I can talk 19 to a dozen once I get talking.
Well, before we talk more about your program, I just want the group to know, what is your educational background?
And it's definitely not in communications.
That's right. Tell them about it.
Well, I'm a science major, and I have 2 master's degrees, one in biochemistry, the other in molecular biology.
She's a smart
that was my impression. I'm thinking teaching kids, and you have those master's degree. Was it micro? I thought it was microbiology.
My bachelor's is in microbiology.
Bachelor's, okay.
And I continue to keep in touch with those fields by teaching at the community college level. So during the daytime, I'm busy teaching at the community college. In the evenings, I'm with the kids, and that way I get the best of both worlds.
It's nice, isn't it?
Balance.
It's great.
Yes.
So this Speak Up Kids program, could you tell us more about that? How that came about?
Yes. Well, I used to do a lot of acting. I was also doing a lot of elocutions, which pretty much every English child is made to do in school. It's not an elective. You cannot choose to do it or not. Everybody has to do it.
Yes.
And I think in the early times here too, in the 50s, I was told by a lot of parents, they used to, or grandparents I should say, they used to make them do elocution in class, and they had to recite things. Things have changed. So instead of this education system, I feel, getting into the right groove, it's somehow moving away from our old traditional ways of doing things. Certain things we should not move away from, and one of them happens to be the areas of communication. Besides your 3 R's, of course, we all know creativity, critical thinking, and communication skills are extremely important. So, of course, they will not replace those 3 R's, but they are equally important, and they need to go hand in hand. Well, I recognized that importance once I had my own children. And I felt they are lacking in some way, because at home, as I said, just like with everyone else's children, they can talk up a storm, but once they are placed in front of others, they're a bit nervous. And I said, this can't be. We are talented. Everybody's talented, right?
Exactly.
And we all can talk about certain things that we feel passionate about. And that is what I was trying to bring about when I started with Speak Up Kids.
Okay.
Of course, as you know, Anthony, the first time you met me, I had another program called Fast Track Kids.
That's right.
And that business utilized one aspect which I was very passionate about, and that is communication skills. So when that business failed, and I'm not sorry to say it failed.
It was a good 2 years.
It was a good 2 years.
It was a good
That's
one.
right.
It was a good
because
run.
from that has evolved Speak Up Kids. All my parents and their children came back to me saying, Miss Florence, can you please continue to teach the communication skills? And that's how Speak Up Kids has come about.
And I think it's great because in the British system that I went to when I was still in Hong Kong, I attended the British system, and we had to go through drama class. We did not have a choice. Everyone, no matter whether you're good at it or not good at it, and not only that, not just drama, we had to act Shakespeare.
That's right.
Me, English is a second language. I'm thinking, what is Shakespeare? I couldn't understand it, but literature. It was difficult. Now, what are some of the groups that you've have provided this program to, Speak Up Kids?
Well, of course, you know, my primary groups are the immigrant children, the second generation of immigrant parents, because the need I see over there is the greatest, so at least the parents deem it to be an essential skill for these children to succeed. Now, not to say that I do not get the local children, I do, and slowly as the news is spreading that Florence just doesn't do, you know, communication skills for small groups. We are talking about adding manners and charm programs.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, we are talking about adding programs for debates because, you know, children want to be competitive as they get older. Now, I'm not a big one for that kind of competition at a very young age. I just want them to get
a bunch of lawyers is what it is. But debate, it also helps them get their point across. When you you don't have to yell and beat somebody up if you can voice what your differences are and have a debate or this dialogue. That is world peace.
You are so right about that, because as you listen to children, you listen to parents, you see on the news, there's so much bullying going on. And we've heard about how many of these suicide cases simply because children don't know how to resolve the anger and the discontent that they have in manners which is going to be productive.